In today's CIE A Level Economics video, we'll be going through Chapter 7, the Price System and the Microeconomy, continued. Specifically, 7.5.1, the short-run production function, which includes the fixed and variable factors of production, definition and calculation of total product, average product and marginal product, and the law of diminishing returns. 7.5.2, the short-run cost function, and the definition and calculation of fixed costs and variable costs, the definition and calculation of total, average, and marginal costs, including average total cost, total and average fixed cost, and the total and average variable costs, as well as the explanation of the shape of the short-run average cost and marginal cost curves. To get us started, let's look at the fixed and variable factors of production in the short run. In the short run, at least one factor of production is fixed, while other factors can be adjusted. Some inputs are fixed and can't be changed with the level of output. Take land as an example, whereas some inputs are variable and can be changed, like labor. Since it's a short run, the firm has limited flexibility. Now let's take a look at the law of diminishing returns. The law states that employing an additional variable factor of production, like labor, to a fixed factor, the marginal product of the variable input will eventually decrease, which means that output will eventually decline. It only applies in the short run due to fixed factors. An example of this is when a firm hires more workers. After hiring a certain number, adding more may crowd the workspace and create inefficiency. Now let's look at the definition and calculation of fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs are expenses that do not fluctuate regardless of the level of production or sales. Its formula is total cost minus variable cost per unit times the number of units produced. Variable costs are expenses that changes based on the level of production and sales. It increases as production rises and decreases as production falls. Its formula is variable cost per unit times the quantity of output. Now let's take a look at the definition and calculation of total cost, average cost, marginal cost, including average total cost, total fixed cost, and average fixed cost, as well as total variable cost and average variable cost. The definition of total cost is the total economic cost of production. It consists of fixed costs and variable costs. Its formula is total fixed cost plus total variable costs. Now, total fixed cost is the total sum of all fixed costs associated with the business. It's not related to production. Whereas total variable cost is the sum of all variable costs incurred when producing a given quantity of goods and services. They do change directly with the level of production. Average cost is the cost per unit of output. Average total cost is the total cost of production divided by the quantity of output. Average variable cost is the total variable cost of production divided by the quantity of output. Marginal cost is the additional cost of producing one more unit of output, and its formula is the change in total cost divided by the change in quantity, or the change in total variable cost divided by the change in quantity. Now let's take a look at 7.5.2, the explanation of the shape of the short-run average cost curve. The short-run curve tends to be U-shaped because of diminishing returns and the behavior of average fixed and variable costs. With average fixed cost, which is fixed cost divided by quantity, as output increases, the fixed cost is spread over a wider scale. So average fixed cost declines sharply. This pulls the average cost curve downwards at lower levels of output. Whereas for average variable cost, when more variable factors are added to fixed factors, productivity increases, up until the law of diminishing returns kicks in, which causes average variable cost to rise. The downward sloping phase occurs because of average fixed costs falling, and the upward sloping phase is caused by a rise in average variable cost due to diminishing returns. Now let's take a look at the explanation of the shape of the short-run marginal cost curve. The U-shape is caused because when production begins, increasing marginal returns occur. Adding more variable inputs like workers leads to better efficiency. Output increases faster than costs, which then causes marginal costs to fall. When the law of diminishing returns kicks in, adding additional workers at some point will cause inefficiency. So, producing an additional unit requires more input, raising the cost, which causes marginal cost to rise. Over here, I put down the short-run average and marginal cost curve. Feel free to pause this video and put this curve in your notes. Now let's take a look at past paper question. A firm at its current level of production finds that its short-run marginal cost is less than its short-run average variable cost. Which conclusion about the firm can be drawn from this information? A. Average variable cost is constant. B. Average variable cost is falling. C. Average variable cost is greater than average total cost. Or D. Average variable cost is rising. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to answer this question. Okay, time is up. The correct answer is B. The average variable cost is falling. Since marginal cost is a cost of producing one more unit of output, and average variable cost is the variable cost per unit of output, when marginal cost is less than average variable cost, the cost of the next unit is pulling the average down. This means average variable cost must be decreasing. Now let's take a look at another past paper question. What is not a requirement for the law of diminishing returns to operate in the short run? Is it A. At least one factor will be fixed in quantity. B. Average returns to a variable factor will increase then fall. C. Marginal product of a variable factor will increase then fall. Or D. Inputs of all the factors will be variable. I'm going to give you guys another minute to answer this question. Correct answer is D. Inputs of all the factors will be variable. This is because the law of diminishing returns applies only in the short run, where at least one factor of production is fixed, such as land or capital. Option D states that inputs of all factors will be variable, which could only occur in the long run as there are no fixed factors. D is not a requirement for the law of diminishing returns to operate. Now let's take a look at another past paper question. The diagram shows the marginal cost, average variable cost, and average total cost, curves of a profit-maximizing firm in a perfectly competitive market. Which market price would mean the firm would operate in the short run but not in the long run? Is it P1, P2, P3, or P4? I'm going to give you guys another minute to answer this question. The correct answer is B, P2. This is because at this price, the firm can cover its average variable costs but not its average total costs. This means the firm is making a loss, but if it can cover its variable costs, it will continue to operate in the short run to reduce losses and contribute something towards fixed costs. However, in the long run, firms must at least break even. So, if the price remains at P2, the firm will eventually exit the market in the long run, but not in the short run. That's it for today's video. Good luck on your exams, and don't forget to subscribe and look at our other social media platforms.